all kind of technical jobs were considered as menial jobs to be done by the last strata of society. How many TV serials or movies do you see today where the life and work of a technocrat is shown? Technocrats are just not considered important and entertaining enough for even the entertainment industry to take cognizance. Forget others. That is the setback with which we are starting. Leadership can do this part, that they can remove this wage and status disparity and make technology more attractive proposition, at least as attractive as others, so that people consider it as a viable option for their career. From day one you start thinking of how do you jump the ladder, the corporate ladder, the hierarchical ladder, because our organizations are never very flat. There is micromanagement, there is a big brother watching, and there is a limited freedom given. A highly creative, visionary person is put under a boss who has been a hard taskmaster and who's only street smart. See, if I advise anybody to take technology as a career, I don't know if that is the right thing I am doing. If I love somebody, I will not do that. Well, jokes apart.
Hello friends, I am AvinashKhare, your host, and I welcome you to this series, TechnocratTalks. In this series, we will be dwelling on our blind spots, which have shackled our thinking and which have preconditioned our perceptions into a certain template. We have been suffering because of that. This we are doing through application of engineering sense and cold logic. Welcome to this analytical discussion. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe. Please press the bell icon to get the notifications. If you like the talk, please like it and share it with your friends, so that we increase the community of like-minded, curious minds to take the movement forward. Without much ado, let us start today's talk.
I read an article you wrote sometime back on LinkedIn about how technology has not been given the proper importance and recognition in the Indian society historically. Can you elaborate on that idea?
Well, you have to see, do we know who designed our famous monuments like Taj Mahal? We know that Shah Jahan built Taj Mahal, but we never learned who was the designer, who implemented it as a project. Surely it must have been a very big challenge, and surely deservedly it is a technological feat that has been achieved. But there is no record, there is no mention, there is no acknowledgement, there is no commending of who has done it, there is no appreciation of the technology and technocrats behind all these monuments. All the big cities which are named after some rulers, the monuments are said to be built by rulers. Actually, rulers only financed it. They neither designed it themselves nor they made the concept themselves. They have only maybe approved it and they have financed it. And that too, it is from the funds which should have gone for the public good otherwise. Okay. So that is one part. The other part is, see, kings have built very nice palaces, forts, places of worship, and all the beautiful things that you see, they are all built for the king, or they are built for the purpose of religion, or, but you don't find any instances when these things are aimed at benefit of common man. Okay, they have never been targeted to benefit the common man. That is the biggest problem. So kings have been selfish. They have done only things for themselves and those who matter to them, but they have largely ignored the interests of public. You see how many public buildings you find in Europe. Say, see any city, London, Paris, Rome. And way back, since 300, 400 years back, those buildings have been built. But in India, we only see forts, ornamental forts, temples, monuments, okay? But never things like dams, never things like canals. even if somebody cites a few exceptions, but those will be only statistically minuscule exceptions. Okay, I mean, we have to say that statistically, it can be safely said that kings have not cared for the common man. They have not developed and the technology which will be used for good for masses. So that is my main complaint against the so-called earlier kings and historical people who could have changed our fortune then.
What do you believe is the reason for the lack of literature references to the technical feats of ancient India?
Now, this is a slightly touchy question because we are talking about ancient literature and people have their faiths and religious beliefs attached to some of them. Now, we have no intention of insulting anybody's beliefs or showing down or showing in bad light somebody's history or tradition or any region in particular. So that is a disclaimer I would have to mention at this point in time. But suppose you consider all the ancient literature just as a pure literature. For once, let us detach it from our religious beliefs and our belief system, okay, and our culture also. If you just see impartially, objectively as a literature, how many references do you find where a technology or a technocrat has been described even? Okay, surely a lot of technological feats have been achieved historically, but never once you find any document which is describing how it was done and who did it. Okay, so in our scriptures we find that the emphasis has been more on chamatkars, supernatural powers. Somebody comes with some vardhan or some boon, some supernatural power, and he makes things happen just like that. Okay. Now, we have been so obsessed with this supernatural thing, with this metaphysics of supernatural, that we have ignored all the way the physics and the science which governs our day-to-day life. We have been ignoring the natural forces, study of nature. Our Gurukul system was there. First of all, it was far removed from population in isolated, secluded area. There was never an institutionalized mass base for knowledge. That is why it could get destroyed so easily, because they were isolated pockets somewhere. And whatever knowledge they had, it was not related to day-to-day life of common people. It was not benefiting common people. So whatever happened was fait accompli, had to happen. And none of those Gurukulas ever taught things like physics or technology. At least I have not come across any such references where they say that, okay, physics was being taught in so-and-so Gurukul and so on. Okay. So historically, the problem is, one is we are miracle-minded, chamatkar-minded, chamatkar ko namaskar. We never thought that natural sciences should be studied. Things like sanitation and hygiene, for example, in a city planning. Okay. Things like architecture, things like mechanisms, physics, material science. There are very few references on that one. So that is the historical baggage that we are carrying. And okay, everybody should be proud of his rich heritage and culture, and we should also be proud, rightfully so. There were many good things. But then यार ऐसे गर्व करते करते तो हम इतने बार गुलाम बन गए और हार गए. अभी भी हम नहीं जागेंगे. We will still not take cognizance of our weaknesses. We will not still do objective evaluation and improvement. Then we will yet again be gulam. We will yet again be subservient to somebody. Okay, we will be subjugated. So that is the writing on the wall unless we act now and do some things differently. Okay, so that is the main aim of this particular talk, that I am talking so much on this subject.
How do you think the ruling class of ancient India impacted the development and spread of technology?
As I said before, they have been selfish, they have been guided by too much of, I would say, metaphysical concepts, Atma, Paramatma, Dharmatma and all that. But they have ignored the physical sciences. They have ignored the technology. So much so that when the rest of the world was making gunpowder, we were still happy wielding swords, and we took pride in that. And the result was for anybody to see. Whatever has happened had to happen. Okay, so kings kept sleeping while the technology development was going on in the rest of the world. It's not that they were not aware. They were surely aware. You still find some technology artifacts in things like Salarjung Museum and their palaces. But they never thought that something like a clock is useful for public. They had one, they kept it in their palace, they kept it in the museum, but they never thought that it was necessary for common public to have these things. Okay, so that is where they could have made a change, but they were busy fighting for nose all the time, fighting for honor all the time, and they had no time to consider things like technology development and institutionalization of knowledge, institutionalization of justice system, institutionalization of municipality system, system to maintain their cities, etc. So all this had taken a backseat visibly. So that is what could have been done and had not been done.
Since our independence, we have seen other countries across the globe taking incredible strides in technology, despite having the same handicap as us during that time. How do you rate our journey in this time frame of 75 years since independence, or a shorter time frame of, say, 30 odd years since liberalization?
Now, post-independence, we have started on correct footing as far as technology goes, according to me. When we institutionalized organizations like ISRO, BARC, the public sectors as agents for developing technology and incubating technology indigenously. Now, those were all good steps, and also having engineering curriculum, etc. in so many institutions. Yes, that was the right step at that time. But then we failed to connect it up with the downstream things. We failed to create a demand for technology. Exactly. So we churned out technocrats from IITs, but how many of technocrats from IITs are pursuing technology career, core technology career in India, serving Indian interest? Minuscule. They are all going and doing MBA, administrative service, migrating to IT, going abroad. Okay, because we have not generated an ecosystem which will lap up these technocrats who have been produced by our system, and they could not somehow take the technology to its logical end and create some roots of technology in the public mind and in the industrial working and things like that. Okay, so industries kept working, businesses kept working the way they were working, with the mindset of cutting corners, saving cost, making money. Top line and bottom line is all that matters. Short-term profits is all that matters. Nobody is bothered about long-term strategy. Okay, so we are into this particular thing, and we have a mindset of poverty. Our mindset is poverty-stricken. Okay, we take it for granted that we don't deserve a premium technology. Nobody will pay for it. Nobody will buy it. So our industries were happy having the low-end technology only, and they were trying to make money out of that, doing it as value for money proposition. Okay, but they were never looking at developing premium technology until they saw that yes, people do buy costly cars, they do buy nowadays you see all kind of luxurious things in the market and people are buying it since they have money. Where is the problem then? The problem is mindset. We have poverty-stricken mindset, and because of that, what happens that we tend to give undue prominence to money. Money, 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 all the time money. Okay, we never do things that we want to do, that we would be good to do. We have competence to do. We have desire to do. We bury all our competences, all our desires somewhere deep down, and run after packages when we choose a career. So this mad rush for higher packages is a phenomenon which is resulting into technology not getting its due importance.
In your opinion, what kind of push from leadership is required to change the historical undervaluation of technology in India?
See, we are in catch-22 situation. We are a democracy. So leaders will do what the larger public wants. And voters surely will not want or appreciate the push for technology because they don't value technology to start with. So they will never ask for technology development. They will not rate the technology development initiatives very highly also. So what motivation will the leaders have to push it either? So it is a vicious circle. Until we somehow create a feel for technology, a liking for technology in masses, things are not going to change. Okay? Leadership will always do some lip service. The problem is, whatever I am talking today, it's not that it is a new discovery today and I am the one who's talking about it for the first time. People have known it. People have known it, but they have been reluctant to acknowledge it. And if at all they have acknowledged it, they have failed to act against it. And if at all they have acted, it was more of a gesture, a symbolic action taken one time for something. It was not followed up and sustained vigorously towards its logical end. So that is where we are now. And going further, leadership can surely do its role in the sense that, yes, some things they can do. For example, they can reduce the disparity between the career prospects of a technocrat versus alternative careers, which technocrats are taking today. Okay, that is something which could be addressed. In many of the Western countries, there is a system that market doesn't decide your salary level or your emoluments. They are fixed. If you have certain qualification and certain number of experience, this is what you will get. You join anywhere, you switch any number of jobs, that is the package you will get. So leadership can do this part, that they can remove this wage and status disparity and make it the technology more attractive proposition, at least as attractive as others, if not better, so that people consider it as a viable option for their career. Okay. Now this is something which can be definitely looked at.
How do you think the general perception of technology and technical jobs can be changed among the masses in India? Is there a cultural obstacle? Is there a cultural angle for this?
See, historically, if you see, the people who did technical job or technology, from which strata of society were they? They were certainly not Brahmins, Vaishyas or Kshatriyas. Barring those who dealt in jewelry and gems and gold, because those people obviously had a lot of money at least. But all other technical jobs, whether it is masonry, whether it is carpentry, whether it is architecture, whether it is handcraft or artisanship, okay, or weavers and dyers, for example, all kind of technical jobs were considered as menial jobs to be done by the last strata of society. Okay, so that is the respect society is conditioned to giving to technocrats. And today also things are no different. How many TV serials or movies do you see today where the life and work of a technocrat is shown? Minuscule. Technocrats are just not considered important and entertaining enough for even the entertainment industry to take cognizance. Forget others, right? So that is the setback with which we are starting for technocrats. That is the historical baggage that we have to carry, unfortunately. So people don't aspire to do technology because of the background, historical background. Now, unless they really see some technocrats doing great in their life and career, this perception is not going to change. So they have to see some live examples where people excel in technology and they do very well in their career and life. But those examples are yet to come. Those examples have not come. There are no examples which new pass out can look at and be inspired with, that yes, this is what I would like to do. And technology is always considered by industry also as something which can be cheaply delegated to the lowermost strata of employees, the workman level or ITI level. Senior executives never want to indulge into technology. They never want to go deep into any area of expertise. They would rather spread themselves too thin to have a KPI which will cover a vast horizontal area, but without any depth. Okay. So that is what is happening, and beyond a point, we start deserving what we get and we start getting what we deserve. So that is the status in which we are.
Can you talk about the challenges facing technocrats in the current job market? For example, engineers don't do engineering-related tasks after graduation. Engineers are not ready after graduation. They need on-the-job training. Is there a way to enhance the quality of internships?
Well, while I will admit that a lot has to be done to align the curriculum to the requirements of industry, we have to make engineers industry ready. That's a catchword, making engineers industry ready. But much more than that, we have to do the reverse. We have to make industries engineer ready, which we are not doing. Okay. When a good potential engineer technocrat comes to an industry, industry really doesn't know what to do with that guy. They don't have any jobs where they can accommodate such people, unfortunately. So that is where there is a restriction in demand. There is no demand, so whatever supply is there, that better goes abroad, because here there is no demand anyway. Okay. There is no demand, there is no utilization also. When a fresh grad joins, he is pushed into becoming a manager too soon. He is not allowed to spend much time and attain depth in technology. He is pushed into becoming superficial generalist manager. Okay. So that is the job profile which they get. So they are only guided by Excel sheet vision and how to make numbers look good on presentations and stuff like that. They really are not getting into groove of things, how things work, how things fail to work, and how things can be made to work. Now that kind of hard grind they don't go through at all. Nobody is giving them opportunity, and that's what it is. And as for industry, they would wish that the new incumbent comes and starts performing from day one. And the definition of performing is that he produces best class quality from age-old antique machines which have not been maintained well. And even if somebody manages to do it somehow, they are not ready to pay that guy either. So again they will cut corners and be miserly. And in case of any business downturn, usually it is the technocrats who will bear the brunt. Okay, they will be saddled with unrealistic expectations. For example, the accuracy as specified in the machine catalog or test report during the time of commissioning. But all those test reports have something in fine print that it is under test conditions. So if a machine is giving you 10 micron under test condition, it doesn't mean with 20 degrees change in room temperature will give you 10 micron bore size accuracy, right? But technocrat is given that target and he has to make it happen, and if he doesn't make it happen, he is punished, he is flogged. So we are being unreasonable to technocrats because managers get away by saying things like, okay, zero accident, zero defect, zero effect, zero finance, zero, 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 everywhere zero. But does it work like that sustainably? No, it won't. It won't. Because if everything were perfect, what was the need in engineering to have tolerances in our drawings? The fact that we have such a big art and science of GD&T and tolerancing means that we have to acknowledge that nothing is perfect and nothing can be perfect. The only thing is whether the imperfection is within tolerance or it is outside tolerance, right? So that theoretical insistence is actually misplaced. Managers don't know what they are talking, but engineers have to make it happen, so they better know what they are talking.
Can you give some examples of countries that have successfully institutionalized and deployed technology for the benefit of their masses?
It is the success stories only which will make the change happen. And the success stories can come through what I call as techno entrepreneurs, technically minded entrepreneurs. In Germany, Italy and Spain, you can still find some industries which are headed by technocrats. So head of a company is himself doing design on a drawing board or a CAD station nowadays. Owner of a company is himself running a machine on shop floor. Now such examples are just not to be seen in India. Okay. Now when you start having such techno CEOs, I would say, and if those companies do very well, then yes, they can have a snowballing action and they can inspire many. I have some example I wish to cite. There is a company right here in Pune which is called as Electro-Pneumatics and Hydraulics. I know them since maybe 20 years or so. They are driven by technology, they are driven by passion for technology, and they have been doing great things in technology. The success which they have had so far is moderate, but they are very promising for the future. Okay. If the government supports such companies, and if there are many more such companies around us, I am sure technocrats, when they come out of colleges, they will find a conducive place where they should go and join and spend their career fruitfully and with work satisfaction, job satisfaction, and all kind of good things which one can wish in life. Yeah. So that is the only way forward. So as employees, technocrats may not make much dent because of the existing features of the organization which are there, in the sense that there is very tall hierarchy, the organization is hierarchical, and from day one you start thinking of how do you jump the ladder, the corporate ladder, the hierarchical ladder, how do you rise above, because our organizations are never very flat, and so there is micromanagement, there is a big brother watching, and there is a limited freedom given. Okay. A highly creative, visionary person is put under a boss who has been a hard taskmaster and who's only street smart. Now these kind of mismatches happen. So first of all, technocrats should be reporting to a senior technocrat. That is one criteria which technocrats can select while picking up a job. And they can select a tech-savvy organization which is driven by passion for technology, rather than which is driven by optimization and cost cutting and cutting corners and making things cheap somehow, anyhow. Okay. So that syndrome has to be broken out of.
What kind of impact do you hope your message will have on the future of technology and its recognition in India?
See, whatever I have said is nothing new. It's not that people do not know. They have been knowing. But it's a problem of acknowledging. It's a problem of acting. It's a problem of acting consistently and diligently and logically for a long time. And of course, a supportive ecosystem has to come from the leadership, which will incubate technology and make it grow. Now we are kind of desperate, but we have some examples to look for. For example, look at China. And I don't have great regard for them as a country, but then you see what they have done. In a very short time, they have taken ownership of all the technology development centers from Europe. And now all the premium technologies are in their backyard. And they have mastered all the latest in technology. As against that, here we are mostly talking only without making much headway in any direction. Of course, we are a democracy, so we can't move as fast as they could, but then somewhere we have to match the competition. That's the requirement.
Can you talk about any personal experiences you've had that highlight the issue of undervaluation of technology in India?
I would rather not be autobiographical, but yes, I can tell some observations, what I have seen happening around me. When we joined as a GET, a big organization, there were people who were meant for marketing, there were people who were meant for IT, and there were people who were supposed to go on shop floor. Okay. Now, in terms of career rise, if I see, the ones who opted for a shop floor career, they suffered. Not only did they suffer, they were turned into manager very fast. So they stopped doing technical work and they started doing a messenger's job more often. But even then, those who migrated at that point in time in IT, of course, IT was booming in those days, and those who migrated towards doing MBA and all, they have gone much ahead as compared to those who stayed back with core technology because of the passion for technology and things like that. So that is one aspect which I have seen. Other thing is I have some stories to share. Like one story is there were two fellows, students, they were roommates in hostel. One was a bright boy, he was a topper in the class, very academic fellow. And other was an average guy. He was more a street smart, a sportsman and those kind of things. Okay. Both of them passed out engineering. The brighter one had passion for technology, so he went ahead and joined for MTech and PhD into one of the IITs. And in 4 or 5 years, he completed that, his MTech PhD. The other not so bright fellow did not get a job to start with. So he stayed on the campus and he started doing some teaching assistantship kind of assignment so that he gets permission to stay on the campus. But while he was at the campus, he prepared for competitive exams. 5 years down the line, both fellows joined the same company. The brighter boy was senior designer on account of his MTech and PhD from IIT. But this fellow, the other fellow, he had become IAS officer by then and he joined the company as CEO. So world of mismatch in fortunes, in status, in everything. Now tell me, how would the technocrat have felt? And if we see such examples around us, what do we expect technocrats to do?
What is your message to young people considering a career in technology in India?
See, if I advise anybody to take technology as a career, I don't know if that is the right thing I am doing for him personally. If I love somebody, I will not do that. Well, jokes apart. As I said before, you have to master technology. For that, maybe you have to go abroad. You go abroad, do great in technology. After that, do come back and become a techno entrepreneur, because you would have surely earned some money while you were abroad. Okay. Then become a techno entrepreneur and work for promoting technology, the real technology. Okay. As I was saying before, if there are many people who are doing this, then a law of mass action will happen, and it will surely change the perception of people, and it will change also their value system. But it will require some hard grind, it will require some hard work, it will require some hardships initially. But then this is something I think which we owe to our country, and we better do it. But as for others, all the very best. I hope to see many technocrats around me, surely. I would love to do that. I just hope it happens.
Well, with this, we have come to the end of today's talk. Please take this movement forward. Please share it with your friends. Open Mind is an engineer's workshop, and our goal is to engineer our future. Please press the bell icon to get further notifications. Please like if you have liked the talk, and please do let us have your feedback, your ideas, your comments, your suggestions. Hope to see you in the next talk, Technocrat Talks. Till then, be happy, enjoy. See you next time. Bye-bye.